Hi, it's Conor Svensson here, founder and CEO of Web3 Labs, and this is your week in enterprise blockchain and protocols on Monday, the 18th of October, 2021. Key events this week. ConsenSys are being valued at $3 billion for their upcoming funding round. R3 acquires tokenization platform. Polkadot is going to debut parachain auctions, and Binance announces a $1 billion ecosystem fund for Binance Smart Chain. ConsenSys have an upcoming funding round, which, although the amount that of funding they're receiving hasn't been announced, it's rumored that the valuation achieved with this funding round is $3 billion. So earlier on this year, we reported how ConsenSys has raised $65 million via a convertible note with a number of well-known investors, including JP Morgan, UBS, MasterCard, Maker Foundation, and Filecoin. And it's rumored that there's going to be some more, very significant names getting behind this round, and seeing ConsenSys after all these years, achieving what would be, clear unicorn status will be a huge validation of what they've managed to achieve in the last few years. A new blockchain called Stacks that combines Bitcoin with smart contracts has generated a lot of interest in the last week. What Stacks actually does is they've created a platform for smart contracts, but they actually use the Bitcoin blockchain behind the scenes for the transactions. And they're also pushing this idea of Bitcoin NFTs there as well. The actual founders of Stacks, they describe it as a kind of layer 1.5 technology to distinguish it from Ethereum's layer 2 technologies that we've spoken about, like Polygon and Optimism and Arbitrum. But certainly this push to actually provide smart contracts on top of Bitcoin, for some it's something that they'd really like to see in the Bitcoin community. So it's definitely one to watch there. Circulor, they've announced a deal with the commodity trader Trafigura to provide CO2 emissions tracking for their nickel and cobalt trading division. These commodities are used a lot in electric vehicle batteries, and what they have here is a responsible sourcing initiative, and they want to provide greater transparency for their environmental, social impact and governance goals there. Chingari, which is a competitor to TikTok in India, they've announced that they've raised $19 million via a token sale, and they're looking to launch their own social token called Gari on the Solana blockchain. They had a number of significant backers here, including Alameda Research and Solana Capital and Kraken, participating in this sale. So what they want to do with this raise is continue to build out the infrastructure for their Gari token, which will allow people to establish e-commerce storefronts to sell physical merchandise as well as NFTs. And people will receive these Gari tokens if they watch or upload content onto the platform. So it's certainly interesting to see this idea of people being remunerated in crypto for actually providing content. Imagine, for instance, if you're uploading videos onto YouTube and depending on how much you engage with the platform as an actual content creator, you get paid crypto tokens in return. Because right now, certainly, it's only people who have much larger followings tend to actually receive something back from the creators there. So it's definitely one to watch there. The blockchain analytics firm Elliptic has raised $60 million in its Series C funding round. And so they had participation from SoftBank alongside their existing investors, who include Wells Fargo as well, Octopus Ventures and Paladin Capital Group. Blockchain analytics is a space that there's so much interest in, and we've seen a lot of significant funding rounds happening in recent weeks there. With this fresh round, Elliptic wants to expand their team, especially in the US, and they currently have about 100 people, and they want to get it to about 150 by the end of the year. Their total funding now to date is $88 million. R3, the enterprise blockchain company, have announced they've acquired the intellectual property and team who created Invo, which is a tokenization platform. Invo enables the issuance of stablecoins, but also allows bank coins or settlement tokens to be used interchangeably. They've built this out on top of Corda, and right now their R3 are looking very significantly at opportunities within the DeFi space as well, and no doubt the idea of having these Corda-based tokens is going to be interesting for them there. Wanchain, the blockchain interoperability chain, they've announced the first cross-chain bridge to Polkadot. Wanchain have already got a number of bridges that are in place between different platforms, such as Ethereum, Avalanche, Bitcoin, Moonriver. But what this basically means is that applications that are running on top of the Polkadot network have a way to kind of bridge across to Ethereum-based chains as well. So it's a significant development there on their side. Binance, they've announced a $1 billion accelerator fund to expand the capabilities of the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem. So what they're looking to do here is that they're planning to spread the funds across 4 different areas, which includes talent development, liquidity incentive program, its builder program, and its investment and incubation program. The intent, of course, here is just to increase the reach and the capabilities of Binance's Smart Chain platform, which was spun up roughly a year ago now and had a lot of interest from the DeFi community just because it's not decentralized like Ethereum, it's a bit more centralized, but because of that, they were able to have a much greater transaction throughput and lower transaction costs. So you've had a lot of DeFi projects that built out on Binance Smart Chain there. So again, then putting these funds behind it is they're keen to actually just continue developing the ecosystem, as are so many other blockchain platforms. Polkadot as well, they're planning to debut parachain auctions on November the 11th, and this is following a unanimous approval from their on-chain governance council members. And so there was the Sub-Zero conference that took place recently, which is basically parity and technologies, a conference to support Polkadot and Substrate, and Substrate's their technology that enables people to create what are called parachains, that are chains that plug into basically the main Polkadot chain. And what they want to do now is enable companies running other chains using this Substrate technology to bid for places on the main Polkadot chain. And so this is going to be happening next month, and they're planning to do this in batches where they do 1 per week for 5 consecutive weeks, basically. So this is really a big move forward for Polkadot. They've already started doing this on Kusama, which is not really a test chain. It's more of like a experimental chain that's slightly further ahead than Polkadot. And so it's the fact it's worked out well there, they're now feeling ready to put it on the main one. So it's a big move forward for them there. That's all we have for this week in blockchain for your Enterprise and Protocols edition. If you're interested in DeFi, crypto, or NFTs as well, please check out our other updates. If you want to learn more about the people who are behind the scenes driving a lot of this blockchain innovation, I encourage you to listen to the Blockchain Innovators podcast. I speak to individuals who've made significant contributions to the blockchain ecosystem, find out what inspires these innovators, get their thoughts on the latest industry news and events spanning crypto, blockchain, protocols, DeFi, NFTs, DAOs, and IoT. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.